this recording is in response to some questions that I got on my YouTube channel for one of the recent forms recordings that I did. And I got these three questions. The person said their fields were always shaded gray. There were no brackets around the fields. I'll show you what they mean by that. And then when they start typing, the default text wouldn't just go away and let them type over it easily. So I thought a picture's worth 1,000 words. It would be easier to show you than try to explain the answers in writing. So what I'm going to do here is let's just make a little form. And what we're talking about are the legacy tools, which on the developer ribbon, this is Word 2010. We also, Word 2007 is kind of similar. You just have the round thing up in the top. But either way, on the developer ribbon is where you will find the form controls. And specifically, we're talking about the legacy forms here, which are the old ones. The other stuff is the new content controls, which are really cool, but not what we're discussing here. And if you don't have the developer ribbon showing in Word 2010, you can go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and check to turn it on. In Word 2007, you go to that round thing, and there's a checkbox to show it. Okay, so I'm just going to go here and put a couple regular fields in. Now notice my field when it goes in is gray, and I'm not seeing those brackets around it. Let me select this and go to Properties for this field. See how that says Bookmark Text 1? The brackets are the bookmark. So if I'm not seeing them, it just means my bookmarks aren't showing. And I'll show you how you can choose to see those. And you can also give them a different name, like maybe this is client name. You can't have a space in here, by the way. Okay, so if I go File, Options, Advanced, somewhere here under Display or Show Content is Show Bookmarks. Now I see those little brackets. So you can turn those on and off depending on whether or not you want to see them. Let me just move this down. And then let me put another field or two. So let's say here's another field. And then, why not? Let's do a little checkbox. And if we wanted to really get carried away, oops, I can't type. We could do, okay, that's a content control. I did not mean to click that. Goodbye. I meant to come here and go to the drop down where you can go in and give these different choices. So there is no default text in any of these right now, but if I go to one, I can either double click it, or with it selected, I can choose properties, same thing. And here I can give it some default text, just so people know when they're looking at the field what it is. And I like to type my own brackets around that just so it kind of looks more like a field. Let's just say type here. Of course, these brackets are just text I typed in. They have nothing to do with the bookmark. But if you have text down here for a bookmark, it will have it. Whatever you put there will be the name of the bookmark. And then this one, I could have the value by default be that it is checked if I want it up to me. Now this was the drop-down list. And here I can put whatever items I want. You can see my imagination's not going that strong, but that's okay. And it also has a bookmark. Okay, so that's why you do or don't see those gray brackets, is whether or not you have a bookmark there. Now, bookmarks can get removed sometimes when you're messing around. And if the bookmark gets removed, I was trying to press backspace. There we go. I don't know if you let me zoom in on that a little bit. See how they're just not there? Now I'll put it back. I'll just name it drop down. See the little gray brackets. Okay, that's that. Now, that was number 2. Number 1, always shaded gray. Well, there are a couple reasons why that would or wouldn't happen. in this choice for the legacy form fields, this second to the last button on the top here determines whether or not your fields are shaded. Sorry, I'm a bit of a spaz with my clicking tonight. Form field shading, you can turn it on and off. Up to you as you're working. I like to have it on. Now, regardless of that, let me come down here and I'm going to put a field in here that has nothing to do with one of these forms. Insert quick parts fields. And let's just choose create date. Okay, so this is a field and I want it to look like this. See how it's gray? If I go to File, Options, Advanced, there is a setting in Word right here, Field Shading. By default in Microsoft Word, it is set to when selected, and what that means is when you use a field. Now, not necessarily one of these form fields. See, these stayed gray because off the developer ribbon, I have it turned on for them to be gray. But this one's not. However, if I click on it, it turns gray. When selected, it turns gray. When it's not, when I click off of it, it's not gray. I always set this personally to be always. And the reason I do that is when I'm in a document, I like to know, is this or is this not a field? The date is a good example. So that anytime I look at this, I know, oh, that's a field. Especially with date fields, sometimes people don't realize it's a field that updates on them, and they don't know why the date is changing in their letter or whatever. Now, I'm going to go to Developer, and I want to lock my form so that I can use it like a form. So, restrict editing. You can get it off the Developer ribbon, or the Review ribbon also has the exact same thing, just two different places to get to it. And in the case of forms, you want to say filling in forms. Yes, start enforcing protection. Now you can give it a password if you want to. I'm not going to bother with that. Now it's like a form and I can use it. Now, our third question was the default text doesn't just go away. Notice when I locked it down though, this here is all selected. If I start typing Jane Doe, that text did go away. I believe what the person asking the question is talking about is if you take your mouse and click in a field, it just puts your cursor there. And then you're like, ugh, I have to get rid of all this just to type some text in here. Annoying. However, instead of doing that, that's just the way it is. If you use the Tab key to go to the next field, Tab will take me to the next field, and notice as I'm going, it is selecting the whole field. So I've just tabbed, and I've come full circle back to the beginning. If I just start typing, I'm good. Press the Tab key, I go to the next field. I can type whatever I want. When you come to things like checkboxes, the space bar will check and clear it. I'm pressing the space bar. But you can also use the mouse, up to you. If you want to reach for the mouse, you can. When you come to drop-down fields, I just tried the down arrow. That was not successful. However, if you care, I do know that F4 on the keyboard and then the arrow keys will work. Now if I press enter, pops that in. Probably would have been faster to just go to it and pick the one I want. Then if I tab again, sorry, I was looking at this thinking it was a field. I forgot it's just my date field, so the cursor's not going to stop at it. But as I tab through them, I can type whatever I want. F4. There we go. So it's just the fact of life that if you're going to use a mouse and click, then you're going to be, spending some time getting rid of whatever text is there. There you go.